Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast with my good friend Lorenzo Romar of the Pepperdine Waves. Hey, he's a happy man right now. The Waves capitalized the Monday evening, actually, with a 106-67 win over the Rice Owls. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Always good to be here with you. With you.
Oh, yeah, it's always a pleasure. I know Maxwell Lewis and Houston Mallet had huge games for you, 29 and 22 points, and you shot 62.9% from the field.
We won't shoot it that well every game, I can assure you. But those guys had outstanding games, not only shooting games, but good floor games, and they impacted the game quite a bit, even when they didn't have the ball in their hand, which was great. Our team happened to be on that particular night against a good Rice team. Mm-hmm. And it's done. We're moving forward now to the next one.
Talk a little bit about your offense. How were you able to, how were your kids able to create so many shots and shoot at a high percentage?
Well, one of the things I've been saying about our team is that we're extremely unselfish, I believe, out there on the floor. And I think we have several guys that can make baskets that are shot makers. And if you share the basketball and the ball's going in, it can look pretty good. What we've got to be able to do is on the nights that ball is not going in, there will be there, we're going to have to be able to really guard and play defense to get through those droughts. We just can't live off of whether we're making threes or not.
Sure. Maxwell Lewis had 29 points, and Houston Mallet nailed 22 for you guys and shooting 62.9% from the floor.
Yeah, they shot it really well. Both of them are really good shooters, and both of them can get in the zones. Houston Mallet had games last year where he got into zones, and we weren't a very good team, and he just kind of carried us at times. And Maxwell Lewis, everyone hasn't seen what we've seen, but we've seen him get in the zones. And when he does that, he can shoot it with range. He's 6'7". He can get his shot off. He can create a shot, which bodes well for a game like his and really helped us the other night.
Coach, like you say, I know you had a tough year last year or so with kids coming back. Talk a little bit about how they've been able to turn the page and get to where you've had good practices and things, and, of course, an awesome first game.
Our guys remember last year. They remember how it felt. Didn't feel very good to come out and not be successful. And we went to Costa Rica this summer. We had a foreign tour trip, played 3 games at practice 10 additional times. And during those times, I know the guys were pushing each other and even telling the new guys, look, we can't let happen what happened last year. And I think that's kind of been serving as a motivator throughout up until this point.
Coach Romar, I know that a lot of coaches have told me those forward trips are really galvanizing for your programs. They bring the kids together on the court and off the court. Talk a little bit about how that happened for you in Costa Rica.
We wanted to take a foreign trip. We had a young team. The other night in the game, we started 4 sophomores, 1 freshman. Mm-hmm. So we wanted that team to get more experience working together, being together, playing with one another. And we thought the timing was right to do it this particular year. And that's what we were able to do. We were able to go to Costa Rica and, as I mentioned earlier, practice 10 additional practices. That's invaluable when you're trying to teach your team how to win games and try to gain some experience.
Yeah, Mallet with the ball was your leading scorer last year with 13.6 points per game. He shot 38.6% from the three-point line. Talk about his influences and maybe how he influences other things going on the court than just the shooting.
Well, he's as a sophomore, he's our team captain. He's a very good leader. He's very intense. He's obsessed with the game. He's obsessed with the process. He studies film. He studies the way he plays. He studies the team. He studies the opposition. He studies the NBA players. He studies kids over in Europe. It's unbelievable. And all still doing all that while still doing a good job in the classroom. And it impacts everyone else. You know, he leads us in charges taken. He's going to get on the floor and get a loose ball if it's on there before anybody. So he does a lot of things to inspire his team as well as score.
And then Maxwell Lewis, you know, he brought you 29 points, leading scorer. Talk a little bit about how he was able to find his shots inside what you were doing.
Well, some of those shots he created himself. Some of those shots, you know, we call his number for something to get him the basketball in places where he's very difficult to guard. And then other times his teammates found him. He's a versatile scorer. He can go inside. He can shoot the three. He can put it on the floor. He's extremely athletic. In transition, he's very, very good. So he just kind of found his way, and the ball was going in for him. He took 15 shots and made 12 of them. So that'll tell you what kind of night he had.
Yeah. And then you got a nice point guard, Mike Mitchell Jr. He had 8 of your 25 assists. Talk a little bit about bringing him, you know, into the program and how he sets things up for all your players on the court.
Well, last year as a freshman, he was second in the entire conference in assists. So, and we didn't have a team that scored very well. So I thought that was an outstanding effort to be able to do that. He understands what we're trying to do. It was very impressive in that I think he took 3 shots in the first half and didn't feel like, oh, I got to get points. He just continued to run the show, and by the end of the game, he had scored 14 points. He had dished out 8 assists, and I thought he played very good defense as well on their point guard, who last year when we played them scored 24 against us. And Mike has just improved from his freshman to his sophomore year, and he did a really good job of running the show the other night.
Yeah, sounds like he played within himself really well from what I've read and stuff.
He did, but yet maintained his aggressiveness. And
sure,
you know, when parents and some coaches watch their kid or player play for somebody else, they're telling them you got to be more aggressive. That's the favorite number one thing you always hear. What they mean when they say be aggressive is shoot it every time.
Yeah.
What we mean by be aggressive is probe, look, be aggressive, attack, and make the right play. That might mean you were aggressive 10 times and never shot it, but you made the right play. So he's doing a really good job of doing that.
I love it. Hey, I have 4 more years of eligibility. You want to come recruit me? I'll be the first 56-year-old to ever play college basketball.
Yeah, as long as you can shoot it, there's a chance.
Yes, sir. I love to shoot it. Right when I get a past half court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, now discuss your depth, coach. You got a rotation, obviously. So how many players could lengthen the rotation as the season moves on?
We'll probably play 8 or 9 in our rotation. Right now, coming off the bench, we have a post player named Boubacar Coulibaly. He's the one transfer that we have, and he's a rim protector, something that we really haven't had with consistency. He's also very athletic and really run the floor, and he's gone to participate in 2 NCAA tournaments when he played for the USC Trojans. So he has a lot of experience in that regard, more than anyone on our roster. So he kind of helps that way. Malik Moore is a freshman who we think is an outstanding guard. And last year we had Mike Mitchell Jr. as a freshman, Houston Millett as a freshman, and they had outstanding years. Where we feel Malik is right up there with those guys in terms of ability. So he comes off the bench for us right now. And then Jan Zedek, who has been a starter on and off for us for the last couple of years, outstanding shooter. He's a lone senior that plays a lot of minutes for us. And he just gives us a lot of stability in that regard because of his experience. He knows what he's doing.
Now, Malik Moore, talk a little bit about the aspects he has as a freshman that make him, that make you see a quality player maybe this year and maybe, on down the road.
He's got really good size at 6'4". He's strong for a freshman. He has sneaky athleticism. He can score the ball. He he plays within himself. He's very unselfish, but yet at the same time, you know, he can go out, like I said, he can score the ball. He can go score points.
Mhm.
I think he's just gonna be an outstanding basketball player.
Sure. Which now thinking about analytics, I'm just curious which statistics on offense and defense do you pay most attention to, and maybe do you delegate to your staff? I've gotten so interested in how each coach uses analytics. It's everybody's different. Nobody copies anybody, you know.
In a nutshell, without just
Mhm.
getting into great numbers, points per possession is
Yeah.
very important to me. You
Mhm.
got to look, and at halftime, I want to know points per possession. Where are we? And for me, that, without going into a whole lot of other detail, that tells a lot of the story as to what's going on.
Coach, last thing, your NCAA tournament, there's rumors that potentially we could have expansion. What are your thoughts on expanding the NCAA tournament, and give your pathway on that?
Depending on how it's done, I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. There's so many teams come selection Sunday that were snubbed, so to speak.
Mhm.
And if given the opportunity, they could have advanced. They could have advanced even a couple of rounds. There's so much parity nowadays.
Mhm.
Before the before you were able to leave early and go to the NBA, there wasn't as much parity. Before the transfer era came in, just the older teams had been together for a while. You kind of knew what was going to happen, and kind of the rich got richer. But every now and then there was an upset that made big noise. Now there's talent everywhere, and it's so evenly
Yeah.
matched that there are a lot of teams I think could every year there are teams that are better than those that are in the field. So to expand it, I think would be
Mhm.
a great idea.
Coach Lorenzo Romar, out in one of my favorite places in the world, Malibu, California, in Southern California. Coach, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Good,
Yep.
good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. Good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye.
All right. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're okay.
Yeah.
Glad you're
Thank
okay.
you. I
Okay.
appreciate that. I'll be watching for you guys.
All
See how
right.
you do. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank